Step right up, dummies, and listen to the stupidest sports show on earth with Rodney Newpole and Tim Van Stratton. Yeah. Well, hello, dummies, and welcome to episode number 89 of the stupidest sports show on earth. My name, as you all know, is Tim Sun God Van Stratton. Alongside me is Rodney Newpole. And let's not waste any time today, Rodney. We got a big show. It's a big show. There's no other way around it.
No pleasantries, nothing. Let's get started.
Let's get started. Happy Friday. That's a pleasantry. First weekend of college football. So let's get right to it. The main topic of today's show. First weekend of college football. It's Labor Day weekend. Is summer officially over? I say yes.
Yeah, it's over. Like, okay, so this is the ending point? Like, this is the end of summer?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to Morton's first football game tonight. Like, high school football is officially back. College football's back. Summer is gone. Summer is gone. R.I.P. summer. Yeah, see you summer. I'm glad that it ended okay, though, like weather-wise. It wasn't ungodly hot like it was a couple weeks ago when we were in St. Louis. But
oh, heck yeah. We've had really good weather. 70 degrees, and I think, next Thursday, 65. So we got it. That's pretty solid around here, all 70. So looking good. And, yeah, see you summer, and now it is so we get fall until what? Thanksgiving?
Yeah. I think Thanksgiving's sort of the final day of fall. But then, important clarification, it does not go into Christmas. It just becomes sort of winter period.
Yeah.
And then Christmas doesn't start until, like, I don't know. What do you start getting in Christmas mode? Is it December 1? Is it like December 10th?
Yeah,
what do you do?
It's usually December 1. Yeah. December is kind of Christmas month, really. So okay. So fall from Labor Day basically until Thanksgiving. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now that we've got that solved.
Yeah. I'm glad we didn't waste time on today's show talking about things like, when does Christmas start?
Yeah.
All right. So huge show. In case you missed it on Tuesday, some of the things that we're covering today. We have, both Rodney and I, 32 NFL team records that are done, that are completed. He has the Bet Us book, and we are going to go through division by division. We're going to tell you exactly where Rodney and I have every single team finishing the 2025 football season. Tuesday, just in case you're wondering, Tuesday is when we will go through the playoffs. We will give you our official Super Bowl picks, award picks, all that good stuff. But today, I should say, is 32 team records. We also looking into a big weekend of college football, including the long-awaited return of Best Bets for Betting. This is something that Roddy does every day on the Substack, but Best Bets for Betting on the show with some picks from myself included. Five picks. I'm back on the wagon, and I'm excited. And it wouldn't be a Stupidest Sports Show without hockey guy Dan joining us. So, Dan, glad you're back. Feel free to chime in, as well as anyone else that's listening to today's show, because we got a big one. All right. On that note, yesterday afternoon, Micah Parsons, it escalated quickly.
Yeah.
Like, there was no trade talk. Then suddenly in the afternoon, there was a Schefter report where it's Dallas seemed.
You're still on mute. There you go. I got nothing. I can't hear anything, man. I don't know what's going on here. Tim is officially on mute. I don't know, man. There you go. Yeah, you're back.
I don't know what happened. So I'm fiddling with the wires underneath my microphone, and I just unplugged it because that's apparently what good hosts do when they're doing a pod. Anyway, what I was trying to say is Adam Schefter puts out yesterday, be like, oh, the Cowboys finally willing to listen to a trade. And then like an hour later, he was traded to the Packers. I can't remember if we said it on the show or if it was just us sort of having a conversation about Parsons a couple weeks ago. And we both sort of mentioned Green Bay as being a team that would make a lot of sense for him. So I'm going to give us the win there on the scoop and the report. But Micah Parsons traded to Dallas in exchange for Kenny Clark, 2 consecutive first-round picks. The first-round picks, to me, I like first sound really good, but I don't really see, unless things go catastrophically wrong, Jordan Love is hurt, whatever, where Green Bay is going to have a really high-valued pick. Like, they always just seem to be picking somewhere in the 20s. So they're going to be, I think, mid to late first-round picks. And then Kenny Clark, while he's not Micah Parsons, he does fill in an area of need for Dallas in the interior line. Parsons then gets a contract extension with Green Bay, 4 years, $47 million a year. He's the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. What were your reactions to the deal? Like, were you shocked at all that there was a trade? What were your initial thoughts there when you saw that go down?
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought that they would actually do this. I didn't think Jerry was that stupid to actually let him go. What is he, 24 years old? 24 years old and one of the best defensive players in the game, if not the best, probably the best defensive player of the year.
Yeah,
is probably on his resume this year. But yeah, just like, wow. And really the effect that it brings to Green Bay, and like that's already a really talented young upcoming team that, you know, maybe this is the piece, right? Like this could be a piece that gets them there. And then in that NFC North, like coming after you, JJ, coming after you, Jared Goff, coming after you, Caleb, you know, and poor Wonder Dog there in Chicago, Wonder Coach there in Chicago, Wonder Boy. He
Wonder.
Yeah, now he's got to face Micah Parsons twice a year, along with Detroit and Minnesota. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of thoughts there, but good move for Green Bay. They got a dude now. They definitely got a dude.
Yeah, it feels the natural comparison here is when you go back 7 years ago, 7 years at this point, where right before the season started, pretty much around this time, the Bears pulled off a trade for Khalil Mack. Yeah. And they gave up a couple firsts and a couple additional picks. I think the Bears definitely gave up more in overall draft capital than Green Bay did with Parsons, but Green Bay also gave up Kenny Clark, whereas the Bears didn't give up any players. It was purely just a draft pick deal. But as far as like the level of pass rusher, the age that they're at, Parsons is 26, by the way, but and entering his 5th year in the NFL. But that's about where Khalil Mack was at that time. So it's 2 stud pass rushers that were coming into the league sort of at the exact same time, or I should say coming into their prime at the exact same time. And the addition of Parsons in Green Bay, in a lot of people's minds, is going to elevate them to a legitimate contender in the NFC.
Yeah, and that's where I'm just getting ready to read Dan's message here, and I think he's 100% right. It puts Green Bay in a cat bind after this year. Feels like an all-in push. Yeah, I mean, I think Green Bay feels like they can make that move to contend. I mean, we see in the NFL, like, you know, if you're a piece or 2 away, like it doesn't always take that much, or it could be a complete disaster, an injury here or there, but like it doesn't take a ton, and this is a ton, but I think they are pushing for an all-in here. You know, Matt LaFleur, obviously, still a nice young coach. You know, that Jordan Love still continues to develop and be a good quarterback. I think they are kind of all in. We'll see. But I'm getting Aaron's message here. He says, "Morning, fellas. This deal really like Herschel Walker." Yeah, we know that guy.
Yeah, well,
is, right?
People were making. I think it was kind of coping for the people that were saying, well, hey, you know, the Cowboys all those years later, they did the Herschel Walker trade and rebuilt the franchise. So I learned in that Cowboys documentary that we were talking about a few nights ago. So the deal was a little bit different than I think people were being led to believe, because they got 5 players that were pretty much no names, but there were stipulations in there where for every player that of that group that they ended up cutting, it would be replaced with a draft pick. So they were like, all right, then we're just going to cut all 5 of them, and then got those picks. So it was more just like Minnesota being terrible negotiators.
Right.
But it wasn't like Minnesota sent them this haul of draft picks that ended up becoming, what it did. So it was a little bit different. So no, I don't view this as the Herschel Walker trade at all. And you also, at the time, Dallas was a bad team. Like, Dallas was a bad team that was several years was not winning games. They were real rough. Like, Troy Aikman was still in his first or second season at that point. So like Herschel was like the only really standout player that they had at the time. So it made sense to move him. They did it middle of the year too. So I think these are totally different. I feel like the Khalil Mack deal with Chicago a few years ago is a way more accurate comparison of what the Parsons trade looks like, at least for my mind.
Yeah, and I like this point from Dan as well. The contract extension for Parsons should make it difficult for Detroit to extend Aiden Hutchinson. It could be a poison piling a division rival. Yeah, I mean, that's probably a good point. It is gonna raise the expectations for Hutchinson's deal. What's your thoughts there?
Well, my thought is that Dan is doing everything in his power to also cope with the fact that Micah Parsons is now in the NFC North. Talking about, Green Bay is going to be a real bond. Detroit might be harder to keep Aiden Hutchinson. Now knowing that, like, Minnesota in a lot of people's minds is instantly shot down to being the 3rd best team in that division. But I understand what he's saying, and yes, but like teams, and we see this for years, teams more often than not are able to sort of figure out, okay, how do we keep our best players?
Right.
Trading a guy like Micah Parsons is not a standard thing in the NFL.
No.
It doesn't happen a lot. That's why the story was as big of a deal as it was. Generally speaking, if you have a franchise cornerstone, you do everything you can to hold on to him. You make cuts elsewhere, you restructure, and you figure it out. Like, you figure it out later on. It's not just like, oh, well, we couldn't agree with Parsons after one round of negotiating, so we're going to trade him, and that's totally normal. No, it's not. It's not normal. It's maybe normal in Jerry world, but it's not normal procedure in the NFL. So I think Green Bay will figure out a way to keep their important players there and rebuild around the edges. And same thing with Detroit. Like, Detroit has their core guys, and they'll figure out the rest. And Hutchinson was a 2nd overall pick for them. There is, in my mind, no way that Detroit is just going to be like, well, he's too expensive. I guess we just got to let him go. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm curious the coping, if that's really what's going on there, Dan. You can just admit it if you want, buddy. You can just admit that Minnesota now has fallen back a little bit. But I agree with you. It doesn't happen very often. You don't see those moves, and to give Green Bay enough credit that they are trying to poison Detroit in the future, I think maybe we're giving them too much credit there. They just really wanted a good player, right? Like, they wanted a good player.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So you name the segment, Luka Doncic and Micah Parsons, right? Because the easy thing is, wow, Dallas has lost these 2 superstars within the span of 6 months. Right. And these were guys that a lot of people considered untradeable, and both of them were gone. It was just a gut punch. But it's just one of those things where when you have a player like that, you don't think about trading them. But
right.
Then
no.
So it's just it's strange when it both happens. It just happened to be in the same market. Aaron mentioned teams just need to run the ball against the Packers. I mean, like Kenny Clark, like that's an area that they feel comfortable in. They're looking at Parsons and saying the value that he brings as a pass rusher is going to be more important than the value of Kenny Clark as a run stopper. And Dallas certainly got an improvement there in terms of stopping the run, but there's overall talent and people that you have to account for on the field. Like, Parsons is clearly going to be a better player.
So Dan brings up a good point. Well, the Bengals one and this one, Jake Ottinger next on the trade block.
Yeah.
It's either him or like Corey Seager or Adolis Garcia. I guess those are the options.
You know what, Rodney, I'm gonna push back there. I'm not sure I put Adolis Garcia in the same tier as Micah Parsons and Luka Doncic.
No,
as
but
as
what?
Dallas
So what is the
icon.
Rangers? What's the Rangers' main dude? Corey Seager.
I guess Corey Seager. Yeah. I guess.
You can't put Corey Seager in that either, right? I mean, that's where I was just trying to come up with. Like, Adolis Garcia is kind of the World Series hero for the moment. I mean, he had a big postseason. That's kind of why I threw him out there.
Yeah, it'd probably be someone on the Stars, no?
Yeah,
realistically. Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on Parsons and Luka here before we get to our NFL predictions?
Let's do it. Let's do our NFL predictions. I'm ready. This is what we're waiting for. This whole book right here.
It took us so long to get these done. We spent an entire car ride to St. Louis just to do the AFC. And then Rodney and I got together a little bit earlier on Tuesday night to do the entire NFC. This was labor of love, though, and we're excited to unveil. So let's do this division by division here. So this is what we're gonna do, Rodney. So I'll have you pick the divisions that you want to start. You're gonna give your picks. I'm gonna give my picks as far as records, and then we could talk about some of the teams that we are super agreed on, or maybe we're differing on a little bit. So where do you want to start?
I always start right with the AFC East. That's how, East, North, South, West, and the AFC. That's where we're going. And then we'll move to the NFC. Does that work?
Yeah. By the way, Aaron was wondering why we didn't do NFC on the ride back. It's because it was 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
And it was dark.
It is dark.
And Rodney was riding these in pitch black, and we were also tired. So shut up. All right. Proceed.
Basically, that's the point. I didn't want to ride with a light on. Reading through this, and we had to find who the last team they played was. Yeah, no, we're
they were doing this with a pamphlet. Trust me. We got it done when we needed to get it done. So zip it. All right, proceed. AFC East, go.
All right, so my AFC East, I clearly am very high on the Buffalo Bills. I have them winning the division by 9 games. I have the Buffalo Bills going 15-2. Now, is that likely going to happen? I don't know. Do you want to know who I have them losing to? I mean, we're doing that too as well. So I have the Buffalo Bills losing at Miami in Week 10. And the 72 Dolphins pop champagne, they cork it, whatever it's called. And then I have them losing 2 weeks later at Houston. And other than that, Buffalo runs the table. So 15-2 for the Buffalo Bills. I have the New England Patriots second at 6-11. And I have the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets at 5-12. Not a great division, and Buffalo runs away with it. That is my AFC East.
Yeah. I am aligned with you in terms of the Buffalo running away with it. I was not as high as you. I have Buffalo at 13-4, 5-1 in the division. A couple of their big losses include a Monday night game in Atlanta against the Bengals later on. A road game at the Patriots. I also have them losing at the Houston Texans. That might be a Sunday night game if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, Buffalo should roll in this division. As far as the rest of the division, the Patriots and the Jets each finishing at 7 wins, 7-10. So I was a little bit higher on the Jets than you were. I don't know why. Which means my last place team at 6-11 are the Miami Dolphins. I do not like the Dolphins at all this year. The vibes are bad. They're a Tua hit away from things going really, really bad. Yeah, and Dan's right on the money. Yeah, Achan's banged up. 2-15 would be amazing. but I'm not high on the Dolphins at all.
Yeah.
And so we're pretty much aligned in terms of like Buffalo's going to win this thing very comfortably. But you're super high, and I should make a note real quick before we continue. So these picks that we are telling you, the method for this was we go team by team. Rodney says the game, and we give a gut pick, win or loss. Now, the extent of the research was asking the occasional, okay, who did this team play the week prior, coming off a bye, like things like that. But for the most part, it was just like, all right, make the pick. How do you think it's going to go? And then you just roll with it. So a lot of times, like we would make this, and like I don't think Rodney expected to pick Buffalo at 15-2, but then went through the schedule and then found himself surprised at the end of it. So that's part of the fun reason why we do this exercise, but that's what we're rolling with. So we both like Buffalo, and spoiler alert for you, 15-2 is going to get them the 1 seed, right?
Yes.
Like
yeah. They would have the 1 seed for me. Yes. I'm going to move to the north now, where it's a little more competitive. It's a good process. Aaron says, "Yeah, that is we were all over that process." You are so
great
right.
process, best process.
AFC North was a little more competitive and better than the AFC East for me. I have. I'll start at the bottom. I have Cleveland with 2 wins. You're right. We went through this, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I only picked them to win 2 games. I have Cleveland winning at home against Miami and at home against Tennessee. Everything else, I have them losing. Some questionable games there that maybe they can win. Maybe they could beat the Jets. Maybe they could beat Vegas. Maybe they could beat the Bears. But I don't have them winning any of those. I have them winning 2 games. I have third place. Naturally, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 9-8. And not even a I'm going to pick the Steelers to go 9-8. How am I going to do this? It was here are the 9 team wins that I thought they're going to win, and here are the 8 I think they're going to lose. Then they end up 9-8.
It just happens. It's destiny.
It just happens. I got Cincinnati at 12-5, second place in the division. Very high on Cincinnati once again. Kind of a sucker for the Bengals, and not as much as you are. And then Baltimore wins the division at 13-4. Baltimore loses their opening game because they've got the Bills, and I'm in love with the Bills. But Baltimore loses at Kansas City. Baltimore loses at Cincinnati, and Baltimore loses at Pittsburgh. Another team that goes undefeated at home. That was my flaw. I love the home teams.
All right. First of all, the Cincinnati dig was totally unnecessary, considering you and I have them finishing with the exact same record.
Yeah, but you historically like Cincinnati more than I do.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, you historically like the Chargers. How's that gone for you? All right. I'll start at the bottom as well for dramatic effect. The Browns will finish in last place. Book it. 3-14. I have them. So I gave them that extra win, including week 1 against the Bengals, because that always happens. Third place, I have the Steelers. I was really hoping to end up at 9-8. I actually had them at 10-7, which still feels like it could happen. I mean, like the Steelers did have a nice offseason. They made some good additions there. I'm not even thinking about Aaron Rodgers as far as that. Like I'm talking about certain guys on their defense and what have you, and DK Metcalf. So Steelers 10-7, but it is still third place. I have both the Bengals and the Ravens at 12-5. I have both of them at 12-5. And the way that I was inputting these, it was able to calculate who would have the tiebreakers based on divisional record, conference record, whatever. And the Bengals ended up winning the tiebreaker. So in my prediction universe, the Bengals end up winning the division at 12-5. The Ravens are a wild card team at 12-5, grabbing the 5 seed. But yeah, I was looking at Baltimore's losses. So I have Baltimore undefeated at home, same as you. 3-5 on the road. Losing at Buffalo week 1. I have them losing at Minnesota in week 10. I have them losing at Cincinnati week 15, and then losing week 18 at Pittsburgh. Those are 5. So none of the opponents are bad opponents. Like the Ravens will beat up the teams that they should beat, and they got a favorable home schedule this year. So, but I just gave them that one extra loss that you didn't have. So it's going to be a close division, and I think that there's going to be at least two really solid teams. But I'm surprised that I had the Bengals as high as I have them. It worked out that way, and I feel like you're in the same boat too.
Yeah,
like we were not expecting the Bengals to win 12 games, and it's probably going to be our biggest flaw.
Yeah, Dan brings up a good point. They had like 6 losses last year when they scored 35 or more points. They do enough to address the defensive issues and bad offensive line? I mean, we're the stupidest sports show, so our answer is, gosh, I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah, like that's it.
They should have. Yeah, that's it. I sure hope so. I think they might have. They added somebody. So, anyways,
yeah. The thing with the Bengals too, real quick, is like the offense is not the issue, but they also, of their 8 losses last year, 7 of them were one possession.
Yeah,
7 close losses. There was some overtime. There was that game against Kansas City that they had right in the head, but then they lost due to that very, very questionable pass interference call that set up a game-winning Harrison Butker kick. Like they were on the wrong end of some really bad luck this year or last year that should turn around. Also, fun fact, the Bengals travel fewer miles than any team in the NFL this year. So as far as traveling across the country, no team travels less than the Bengals. Just going to throw that out there for you.
All right, I'm going to move to the AFC South, and let me tell you, we the middle of our AFC South is flip-flopped. I'll just start there. Like we have our middle is flip-flopped. I'm going to take the Houston Texans to win this division. I don't think anybody's surprised by that. I'll have them going 11-6. 11-6. I think 11-6 sounds fair for the Houston Texans. Second place for me, I've got Indianapolis at 7-10, so not a playoff team. And then I have Jacksonville and Tennessee both winning just 4 games. I can pull up kind of what I think of their schedule. Houston, I have them losing week 1 to the Rams. I have them losing at Baltimore, at Seattle, at Kansas City, at the Chargers, and then losing week 18 to Indianapolis because they just don't care about that game, right? They're going to be ahead in the division. For Indianapolis, maybe a little bit higher on them than I should be. I have them beating Miami in week 1. But like I'm looking at Indianapolis's wins. They beat Miami. They beat Vegas. They beat Arizona. They beat Tennessee. They beat Jacksonville. They beat Jacksonville. They beat Houston in week 18. Like, there wasn't a single one of those wins where I was like, earth-shattering win for the Colts. Like, I got them winning 7 games and all just kind of winning games that maybe they could win. So, and I know you're going to discuss that. Then Jacksonville, Tennessee, 4 wins. Just not real high on either one of those teams. I don't have much else to say besides I'm not real high on them. I'll let you go and tell me where I might be wrong here.
So I'm 100% with you on the division champ. It's unless Houston takes a real step back, do something with CJ Stroud or what have you. I find it really hard to see another team winning that division. So I got Houston at 10-7. My second place team is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do think that they had a good offseason. They got a new coach, got Travis Hunter. I have them at 7-10, but that's only good for second place. Duval. The Tennessee Titans, who were the worst team in the NFL last year, they do have Cam Ward. And, I one of the things I was trying to think about, like, all right, you're going to have some rookie growing pains, but perhaps later on in the year, he starts to get more comfortable. So you start to build a little momentum. So I have Tennessee finishing a little better than you do at 6-11, but 3-3 in the division, because there's one thing about the AFC South. I always try to tell you guys, wildly unpredictable. Like every game between 2 AFC South teams it's crapshoot. And finally, you were correct. We are in disagreement on the Colts. You forget that Daniel Jones is the quarterback. Yeah. I watched Daniel Jones for 6 years in New York. Rodney, there is not a chance that he is going to lead that team to success. The Colts, it is similar how I feel with the Dolphins, where just the vibes just feel, bleh. The Colts are going to finish 4-13, dead last in the AFC South. I am not at all high on anything to do with the Indianapolis Colts. I don't want to hear about, Jonathan Taylor, offensive line. Bad team. It's a team that in a game that they needed to win to remain in playoff contention, lost by like 30 points to the New York Giants in week 17. This is a terrible football team. So, Colts 4-13, dead last.
All right, I'm going to move to the AFC West, and I really would like to be. I would really like to think that Pete Carroll could get the Raiders to playoff contention in his first year, but I just can't get there. I could not get there with my predictions. I could not get them enough wins. I was hoping to, but I got them last in the division because I just can't take them over into the rest of these teams. I've got the Vegas Raiders at 8-9, finishing last. So you're thinking, you're going to have a ton of wins in this division, and I do. I have 43 wins from this division in 2025. 43-25. Pretty good. So third place, I will take the Denver Broncos at 10-7. I do like Bo Nix. I like what Denver's doing. And even at 10-7 and getting to the playoffs, I think they will be a tough out in the playoffs if they can get there. Could be a team that makes a little run. But anyways, I got them at 10-7. Because of the Chargers, I've got them at second place and winning 12 games, 12-5, in fact, for my Los Angeles Chargers. And I've got the Chiefs winning the division. I'm nervous about it at 13-4. Like, I would not be surprised one bit if we see the kind of the end of the era, the complete collapse, this is just not our season for Kansas City. But going through the schedule, I have them losing to the Eagles. I don't. Yeah, I do. I have them losing the Eagles. I have them losing at home to Vegas because it happens, right? It happens. I have them losing at Buffalo. I have them losing at Denver and then winning their final 7 games of the season. That sounds like something Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid might do. And if you think about it, that one of their losses is without Rashee Rice. They start getting him back. They scuffle a little bit in the middle. They get to their bye week. They lose the rivalry game to Denver, and then they soar from there. So kind of the narrative on Kansas City. Got them at 13-4, winning the division.
We are 100% aligned on the Raiders. I have them fourth place at 8-9. They have improved significantly. They're going to have some upsets this year. I think that it's going to be a tough place for people to play. But it's just a really tough division. But they're on the up. But 8-9 for them. Denver, I also have 10 wins, 10-7. Maybe we see Bo Nix take a step back, but Bo Nix was in that perfect sweet spot where it wasn't like, he was absolutely incredible as a rookie. He can only go down. Like if he's just similar to what he was last year, Denver's going to be in good shape.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to take huge strides or capitalize on a Jaden Daniels year, right? Like he was good. He was good. The Chargers I have second place at 11-6, so one fewer win than you had. Now, full transparency, I filled this out not really thinking about the Rashawn Slater injury, and as I've sort of reflected on it, I wouldn't be surprised if that loss for them has more of an impact than an 11-6 record would indicate. So just something to keep in mind there. And then first place, I was very, very disappointed that I had the Chiefs still after all of the favorable luck and fortune that they had last year, all of the one possession games, all of the officiating going in their side. And the fact that there's a well-documented case of team that loses the Super Bowl has a disappointing follow-up year. That I still had the Chiefs winning 12 games. And you had a thing where they kind of iffy and then just go on a run in the second half of the season. I'm exactly with you. I have them winning their last 7 games. 7 games in a row, and they just rolled. But losses to Buffalo, loss at Denver. My big upset for the Kansas City, and I feel like this is perfectly on brand, is they have 2 games, week 4 and week 6, where they're hosting the Ravens and the Lions. But right in between there, They got to go to South Florida to play the Jacksonville, or Central Florida, I should say, to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. I could see the Jaguars beating them and just an upset early in the year, and everyone hits the panic button on the Chiefs, but they figure out they figure out how to right the ship later on. But Chiefs 12-5, it would get them the 3 seed in the AFC.
All right, move to the NFC. In full transparency, I made some changes this morning after the Micah Parsons trade. After the Micah Parsons trade, I docked Dallas a couple, and I bumped Green Bay slightly. I said from the beginning, you have until Thursday kickoff if we have to make these changes. Now, honestly, I probably would have said from the beginning, like, only thing that makes me change these picks is like something major happening. Well, I think Micah Parsons getting traded from one team to the other is something major, and so I've made those. And one of the biggest discrepancies we were going to have today was going to be Dallas. I'll get to them in just a second. New York Giants, I have them in last in the NFC East. I have them winning 5 games. I have the Dallas Cowboys now going 7-10. Before the Micah Parsons deal, I had them at 9-8. 7-10 is still maybe generous for them, but I'll stick at 7-10. I've got Washington at 11-6, and I got Philly. Nick Sirianni once again winning the division at 12-5. So Giants last, Dallas third, Washington second, Philly first. You're
up. This is easily your worst division that you've had. And I could not disagree anymore with how you have this going. The only thing that we have in common is that the Philadelphia Eagles will win the division. I have them at 12-5. I can't remember what you said for what their final record's going to be.
12-5.
But 12-5. So the Eagles comfortably win the division. Washington is one of those teams where on paper you're like, oh, wow, there were 12 wins last year and they got even better. Washington to me is old. Jaden Daniels feels like a situation that kind of we saw with CJ Stroud, where there's going to be a little bit of a sophomore slump. They're very confident in their new running back room. They traded Brian Robinson, but like Terry McLaurin finally saw him. He's going to be a little rusty early on. I have Washington at 9-8. So like, while still fine and still in wild card contention, to me, Washington feels like a classic. They're going to take a step back. In third place, I have the New York Football Giants. I'd like to remind people that the Giants have 3 quarterbacks on their roster that are better than any quarterback that they've played in the last 2 years. I'd like to remind people as well, that they have replaced like multiple players on their defense and added a player in Abdul Carter, who many project to be the next Micah Parsons-like player in the NFC East. The Giants will be better than people expect. I have them at 7-10. 7 wins. That is more than double of what they had last year. Finally, and this was before the Parsons trade, but maybe there was a little part inside my mind that said, yeah, maybe something's not right in Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys will have a disastrous 4-13 season. No Parsons. The defense, look at the defense, Rodney. It doesn't look very good. The vibes are bad. Brian Schottenheimer, Matt Eberflus leading the coaching staff is horrendous. The Cowboys will be a last place team. This is disaster in Big D. And I think there will be a part of Jerry and a part of the organization that realizes, hey, the next couple drafts, we have a chance to really shake things up. It might not be a bad idea to be really bad. Oh, what's that, Dak? You're a little sore? Well, you know what? Let's sit you here. It's going to be a bad year in Big D. So 4-13 for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. NFC North. I have the Chicago Bears finishing dead last at 4-13. I hope that I still have a vehicle and it doesn't get stolen from me from Bears fans after that comment. 4-13 for the Chicago Bears. I have the Minnesota Vikings at 9-8. I have them at 9-8 on the season. I have Detroit and I have Green Bay both at 11-6, tying for the NFC North. Can kind of go through what I have for those teams. So Detroit, you think, okay, they got 6 losses. I have them losing at Green Bay. I have them losing at Baltimore. I have them losing at Cincinnati. I have them losing at Kansas City. That is a gauntlet right there, and that's all before the bye. Detroit's got all of those road games. After the bye, they're at Washington, and they're at Philadelphia. Also games I think they lose. Those are 6 road games against 6 playoff teams, right? Well, Cincinnati didn't make the playoffs. 5 playoff teams and a dangerous Bengals team. Detroit, though, like Kansas City, I have them winning their final 7 games to end up tying for the division. Green Bay, on the other hand, real quick for Green Bay, I have them winning their first 5 games, losing at Arizona, losing to Philly, losing at Detroit, and then scuffling down the end, losing at Denver, losing to Baltimore, and losing at Minnesota. So there we go. I have Detroit and Green Bay at 11-6 to tie for the division. Your thoughts?
Thoughts? They're good thoughts. The NFC North is better, so certainly closer than where we were at with the NFC East. The Bears, and again, if you would have asked me, hey, Boy Wonder's at the helm, they're gonna be better, right? I would have said, yeah, probably. Made some offensive line additions, but yet when I went through the schedule, I had the Bears also at 4-13.
Okay,
and I was surprised at how poor they ended up being when I went through pick by pick. But it just, the way that the schedule ended up, I didn't love for them. I did not love it for the Chicago Bears. So 4-13, but 2 division wins. The Packers, I've not made any changes since when we did these picks a few nights ago. I had the Packers at 8-9. It might be something that I have to revisit. Now I also had them starting off real hot, winning their first 4 or 5 games in a row, and sort of cooling off down the stretch here. I might have to revisit. Perhaps, there's a loss that they have to Minnesota. There's a loss that they have to Chicago later on in the year. Perhaps these are things that with Micah Parsons, it changes the dynamic a little bit. So I will let you know by Tuesday if I make any alterations to Green Bay's record. But I have them right now at 8-9. The Minnesota Vikings and Detroit Lions, I have them both at 10-7. I think Minnesota is going to be one of those teams that, we'll see what J.J. McCarthy is, but I don't think there will be a super sharp learning curve. So I don't think you're going to see a ton of growing pains, maybe some very early, but I think as the year goes on, Kevin O'Connell will get a lot out of his quarterback. And the Detroit Lions, I think, are going to take a natural step back from where they were last year. Lost both coordinators. We've seen that plays a pretty big impact into how teams play the following year. Also, I don't know if you know this, Rodney, the Detroit Lions are the number 1 most bet team in the NFL to miss the playoffs in 2025.
Well, I mean, I read through their
it's the opposite of it's the opposite of last year with they were the most bet on team to win the Super Bowl, and now they're the most bet on team to miss the playoffs outright. So it's interesting. Just a year, and it totally flipped on them. But with the tiebreaker, Detroit would still win the division, though, at 10-7. Minnesota would be a wild card team.
Okay. We'll move along here as we're up about 45 minutes here. We still got quite a bit left of the show. We'll go over the hour today, but we'll try to limit it a little bit. NFC South, I have the New Orleans Saints as the worst team in all of football. I have them winning 1 game in hilarious fashion. The New Orleans Saints win week 1. The New Orleans Saints win their week 1 game, and then they lose 16 in a row. That is hilarious. They beat Arizona in week 1. Saints at 1-16. Carolina Panthers, 5 wins. I want to like Bryce Young more. I want to think they're going to win more than 5, but that's all I could find for them. Tampa Bay wins 9. They go 9-8, and the Atlanta Falcons win the division at 11-6. So I got Atlanta, Tampa, Carolina, New Orleans in that order. So we do have a difference here at number 1.
Big difference. So we're not different on New Orleans. That's a last place team. I was trying to be. I have New Orleans 3-14. Okay. Admitting that I really had to struggle to say, okay, I think New Orleans might win this game. Uh, it's going to be a bad football team. It's a bad team. The Panthers, I'm a little bit higher than you. I have them at 7-10. It's still third place, but 7 wins. Bryce Young definitely made strides last year as the season went on. I like their coach. I think that the defense is still really, really poor, but Carolina's they're going to be scrappy. They're like a scrappy team that could make people sweat a little bit. The Falcons I have at 8-9. Michael Penix Jr. is the new QB. I'm interested to see how their season goes, but I feel like Atlanta they lose too many games they should win. Like, it's one of those things, they don't have that dog in them. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers do have that dog in them. I have Tampa Bay, and this was another part of my like surprising predictions. I have Tampa Bay winning 12 games, 12-5, and going undefeated in the NFC South. And a couple of their wins, like of note for Tampa Bay, is they would beat the Philadelphia Eagles at home, so it would be in Tampa Bay where they would win. The way that it lined up, I liked Tampa Bay a lot, and Baker Mayfield is become a really, really solid quarterback. I'm trying to see another couple Tampa Bay wins I have. Well, I have them also winning the last 6 because they play Arizona, New Orleans, Atlanta, Miami, and Carolina. That's a really, really easy stretch to close out the year. So they're going to rack up a lot of wins late. So maybe it's a team that doesn't look super dominant, but then like as the year goes on, they'll be like, oh shit, they really pulled away. So Tampa Bay, your division champ at 12-5.
Yeah, it's funny that Dan asked this question because I was literally going to ask it even before he brought it up. So I've done a couple fantasy drafts. Thoughts on this guy, Emeka Egbuka, Tampa Bay's receiver. He's probably number 2 right along Mike Evans. Obviously, Chris Godwin's still kind of questionable on when he'll return with his ankle injury. Are you high on Egbuka from Ohio State?
Yeah, I from what I've seen in camp, he's been really productive, and is Chris Godwin is hurt, so Egbuka is going to get a lot of those chances early on in the year. Yeah, I think fantasy perspective, he's a really solid pick. I don't know if I'm picking him for rookie of the year. That's something that I gotta look around and see some other options, but he's definitely in the running.
We got 6 days. You got 6 days to get those bets in. So here we go. Last one for the NFC West. I will start with Arizona at 6-11. They finished last in the division. I got Seattle at 10-7, finishing third in the division. I've got the Rams at 12-5, finishing second in the division. And I just couldn't get over San Francisco's soft schedule. I got them at 13-4, winning the division. So San Francisco, Rams, Seattle, Arizona in that order for me.
All right, NFC West, the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, I have a couple friends who are really high on Arizona, and I should say this. Arizona being a team where if certain things break right, they could sneak up and win that division. They do need some help to do it, but it's not like it's a bad team. That said, I had Arizona losing all 6 of their division games and finishing 6-11 on the year. And right on cue, Dan says Cardinals will win the NFC West. Like I've seen multiple people say that, and maybe I'm not seeing it, but it's a tough division. So I'm putting Arizona at 6-11. I have Seattle in third place at 8-9. So a little bit you Sam Darnold away from O'Connell. Like I'm not 100% convinced that the Sam Darnold that we saw in Minnesota is just going to carry right over into Seattle. I'm not. The Rams in second place. The Stafford stuff going on is a little concerning. Like, is he hurt? Is he not? There's some stuff there, but like can't deny Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams on the offense. Sean McVay is still one of the best coaches in the NFL. I have them at 12-5. And San Francisco, like you, I like them a lot more than I thought I was going to. I have them at 14-3. Which makes them your number 1 seed in the NFC. So San Francisco goes from last place to the best team in the NFC.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, it's not a crazy thought though. That's still a talented team. It's still a well-coached team. I do think they'll put things together. So not a surprise there. Anyways, let's wrap up the NFL for today because we got more on Tuesday when we do our playoff predictions. We can kind of recap this a little bit, maybe even get to some offensive rookie of the year bets and things like that. But because we do have some college talk to get to, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Let's get to college real quick. College week started some Thursday night games. Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. We saw Travis's alma mater, Cincinnati, lose. He's supposed to be favored in Cincinnati. Probably was favored at home there, I would expect, right? And
no. That was Nebraska was favored.
No, Nebraska was favored by a touchdown. Okay, so
yeah,
Cincinnati
because that game was at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so neither one of them were at home.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it, so there you go. That makes sense now.
Yeah. All right, let's get to our best bets for betting.
Yeah, let's do it. This is the return of best bets for betting, where Rodney and I will each go through 5 games. We have a couple that we decided to do a bet for the same game. But why don't you go ahead and get started, Rodney? You're first. We've reset the records. For the fall. So we're both at 0-0, and we'll obviously keep count of everything on Tuesday and then go from there. But your first best bet for betting for week 1 in the college football season is
prime time. I was anti-Dion last year. The guy is now figuring out he's going to show us he knows how to coach. We'll see. But I'm going to take Colorado at home tonight +5 against the Yellow Jackets. I do like Georgia Tech and some of their toughness. I do like that team. But I think Colorado sold out crowd tonight in Boulder. It's tonight. So get your bet in tonight. I think Colorado hangs in there. They have a little bit of experience at quarterback. They have a freshman waiting in Juju. If your quarterback's name is Juju, some good things can happen. But he's not going to get the start tonight. It's going to be Caden Salter. Colorado +5 is my hope for tonight. That's what I'm going to take. And I do want to mention, I was all over South Florida last night at +5, 5.5. Mm-hmm. I'm probably going to sprinkle money line on Colorado tonight. These are just the type of games, especially early, where I think you can really take advantage because the odds makers don't quite know the teams. Look for Colorado at that money line. You're going to get close to 2-1 odds. I like Colorado as my first bets for betting tonight.
Yeah. All right. My first best bet for betting. Maybe I'm falling for SEC hype a little bit here. It's tough, go on the road, take on Baylor, but the line was too close here, and I think Auburn is able to squeak this one out by a field goal in Waco. So I'm taking the Tigers to get off to a 1-0 start here in a pretty decent Friday night matchup, Auburn and Baylor. So give me the Tigers by a field goal.
Okay, number 2 for me. My number 2 is the big game. It is Ohio State. It is Texas. I'm going to take the Buckeyes. I'm going to take the defending champs. I'm going to take the home team. I'm going to take the best player on the field in Jeremiah Smith to beat who I think is a really good coach in Steve Sarkisian. The home team really is a big factor for me. I will take Ohio State -1.5 tonight at home over Texas.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on Ohio State there. All right, my next one. Perhaps I am overrating Alabama. There's a theme here, right? With SEC love. Perhaps I'm overrating Alabama. They had a really tough year last year. Florida State, I just can't get over how bad they were last season. Obviously, there's been a lot of turnover both sides here. Crimson Tide are 2 touchdown favorites at Florida State. It's a big line, but I think the Crimson Tide do just enough to be able to cover this line here. Florida State really just disappointed last year, and I think that it's one of those things where they're sort of in a transitional phase right now. So I'm taking the Tide by 2 touchdowns on the road.
Well, that's interesting because I'm not.
Yeah,
I got it at
know.
14.5, and that's, so that's where you do really good line shopping. You can find it at 13.5 somewhere for your side. I can find it at 14.5 for my side. And those of you that are not into betting or not familiar with betting, this does happen. This can happen, and I would highly suggest it. Go find the best line for your team. Take advantage of it. I'm getting 14.5. This could be, if this is a 2-touchdown game, if this is 14, we're both celebrating. Alabama wins by 14, and we're both cheering to the moon. That's the best case scenario.
Amazing.
But I like Florida State to be better this year. Obviously, they have to be better this year. In Tallahassee, I'll take Florida State plus 14.5 to just get by and cover that one. So that's my third best bets for betting.
All right, next for me, I'm going to Clemson LSU. It's probably the best game on the Saturday night slate. I mentioned it on Tuesday that I'm kind of buying into the Clemson buzz a little bit. There's two really good quarterbacks on both sides, but Cade Klubnik is a super impressive guy. Clemson, I think they have in the conversation as best defensive player in the country, and Peter Woods on that defensive line. Clemson at home here against LSU. It's 4 points, but I think I'm willing to take those 4 points, and I could see Clemson winning this game by, dare I say, I think they could win this game by a couple scores. So I'm going to take the team in orange to beat LSU and cover by 4.
It's always nice to see Brian Kelly lose, especially his opener, and put them a little bit further back out of college play. It's a long way to go for the playoff, but so it doesn't eliminate them, but it puts it a little bit tougher for them. Number 4 for me, I'm going to take the Canes at home on, what is that, Sunday night? Monday night. That is Sunday night, the Sunday night college football game. Virginia Tech and South Carolina also play on Sunday afternoon, so it's a full day of football if you really want it to be. I think Notre Dame's going to run into a little bit of a transition issue with some of their players they lost. I still like Marcus Freeman a lot as a head coach, but I'm going to take Miami and their talent. New quarterback there, Carson Beck. I will take the Canes, and you can get them at plus 120 on the money line. I'm going to go ahead and do that. The safer best bet for betting would be take them plus 2.5. But I'm just going to go right on out and do the plus 120 and win a unit in a fifth here. I'll take the Canes.
I'm right there with you, buddy. Miami, from what I've heard and things, that's a team that is really loaded up in the in the offseason. Carson Beck coming in. Might not be Cam Ward, but I think he should still do the job pretty well. Notre Dame's had a little bit of trouble naming a quarterback before they landed on their guy. But the game in Miami, home underdog, I'm taking the Canes here, and I can see them winning pretty comfortably.
My last one is going to be Chapel Bill on Monday night. Chapel Bill, North Carolina is going to be fired up for this one. It is the debut of Bill Belichick. He is taking on a Horns Frog team. This is kind of out of character for me to bet against the Big 12, the dudes that I like to call them. I do consider the dudes of Big 12 more for basketball. I think they do have tougher dudes in basketball. Football, not necessarily, but I will go with the Tar Heels, another money line pick, plus 150 over the Horned Frogs. And that's my final best bets for betting.
I'm a big wuss. I'm not taking UNC to win outright, but I think Chapel Bill gets the cover. So they keep it to within a field goal. But yeah, for all the reasons you said, I like UNC as well on Monday night, the final game of the college football week 1 slate. There you go.
Hey, real quick tonight, a few that I do like, and I am obliged to say this because I kind of tore through Thursday night, so I'm kind of an expert here. Wake Forest minus 17.5 at home against Kennesaw State. I think they can cover that. Charlotte is a 3.5 point underdog at home against Appalachian State. I like the 49ers, Charlotte 49ers, to win that game straight up. They're a 3.5 point underdog. Stay away from Kansas at minus 45.5. Stay away from Illinois at minus 45.5. They're going to win. They're going to win big, but gosh, it could be 45. So stay away from them. I also like UNLV to look better this week and cover 9.5 at Sam Houston State. There you go. Have at it. 45.5 for Kansas and Illinois. Good luck to both those teams. And Western Illinois, could throw the shocker of the world tonight in Champaign. It's not going to happen.
That would be amazing. I don't think you would shut up about it if that happened.
Number 12 ranked Illinois. Illinois. So, but in Illinois is at Duke next week. That's kind of a trip up opportunity for Illinois. If they think they're going to be a college football playoff, they can't lose at Duke next week. That's college football.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Let's wrap it up real quick with Mount Rushmore of 89s. Our final Rushmore with the 80s. It's been a great stretch after slogging through the 50s and 60s a while back. So, best player to wear 89. I don't know if you've got your list ready. My first nomination is Steve Smith. Steve Smith Sr. I should clarify to respect him and his family. Longtime Carolina Panther. He's not in the Hall of Fame. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But I think he is unquestionably the best player ever to wear 89. So Steve Smith, welcome to the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, he's in. And I'll just throw this out there now. I don't even think we need to necessarily even talk Major League Baseball or the National Basketball Association. MLB and NBA both kind of eliminated from this talk. Neither league has shown any promise for 89. NFL, you brought one up. We could change this one, but I'm going to throw out Mark Andrews, current tight end of the Baltimore Ravens.
It's not a bad choice.
Was the number that came to mind for me, kind of as a current guy. There may be others that give a better, but Mark Andrews had a really good career. Really good career. So I'll throw out Mark Andrews with the preference that maybe we get rid of him, but I don't know how strong 89 is going to be. So Mark Andrews is a contender.
How about this? Speaking of tight ends here, you probably know him, as do most of us, as the legendary West Varing Mustachio coach of the Chicago Bears. But once upon a time, Mike Ditka,
that's right,
was one of the best tight ends in football history, wearing number 89. And I would be hesitant to leave Mike Ditka off the Mount Rushmore of
he's in
best players to wear 89. But I don't want the version of him that played, like when we're building the statue on the rock or his face on the rocks. I don't want the version of him that played. I want the one of him wearing sunglasses with the mustache.
Yeah. So. No, I think that's good. And I think he's in. I think he's in. Mike Ditka, Steve Smith, yeah. Mark Andrews. Good start here. Not as strong as 88. Our last one, I mean, you may know, is Mark Bavaro actually considered a good one for this? This is a former New York Giant. What do you think there?
Yeah, I mean, Mark Bavaro is definitely one of the best. I was surprised that Mark Bavaro was only a Giant for 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Or maybe he missed, but like 85 to 90 is there, but a couple Pro Bowls, won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. He is a Giants legend in that regard. So I think he's definitely a nominee. A couple other guys that I'm seeing on the 89 list that might interest you. Santana Moss had a really good long career. Washington played for the Jets. Do you remember Doug Baldwin? He's not going to go on the Mount Rushmore. Do you remember Doug Baldwin from the Seahawks?
I do.
The one too. So I'm okay. I'm okay with Mark Bavaro getting that final spot, and we just lean into the tight ends there. So them plus Steve Smith. I think that's still a really good group of 89s.
Yeah, we got the coach, we got Steve Smith, we got Mark Andrews, and we got Mark Bavaro. I mean, not our best, not our worst, and considering the time constraints we're up against for our show and the FCC trying to get us off the air here. I think we can settle with that one.
I'm good with it. Perfect. Yeah. All right. That concludes it for the Mount Rushmore of 89s, the Mount Rushmore of the 80s, and for the 89th edition of the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. Real quick reminder that you could follow us at Stupid Sports Show, no W at the end, on Twitter. Listen to all 89 episodes of the Stupidest Sports Show. I mean, I'm sure you'll get a lot of information if you listen to last fall's episodes when we talked about Week 5 NFL from a year ago. But you can listen on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts. And sign up for a Stupid Sports Show on Substack. We have the picks that we do on today's show, but also Rodney has dozens of picks that he's dropping this weekend that you can get for free in your inbox. So
yeah, and I have all intentions of absolutely smashing the football season, just absolutely smashing it. So good luck. If you choose to fade the best bets for betting in your Substack, that's on you. But I plan on smashing it.
Alexander Mogilny was apparently an omission that we had on the Mount Rushmore. He is a Hall of Famer, but
see you, Mark Bavaro.
Sorry. Yeah, well, you know what? No, it's our show. Damn it.
No hockey for this one. I did see his name when I pulled up in the National Hockey League, but I was like, yeah, I don't know. There was also a Clyde Lavalette in the NBA that wore it 1 year, but was a 3-time NBA champion. So if we're gonna go that far, I should have mentioned his name as well. But those guys can have plaques. Congratulations, guys, on a good career, but you're not on our Mount Rushmore. Sorry.
It'll be the Alexander Mogilny walkway to the 89 Mount Rushmore. There you go.
There you go, Dan. Enjoy.
That's the consolation. All right, let's get out of here. Have a great weekend. Watch a ton of football. We'll be back Tuesday night to finish our our NFL picks. We'll have our Super Bowl predictions. We will have our awards and much more. But let's get out of here. For Rodney Newpol, this is Tim Sun God Van Stratton signing off for another episode of the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. See you guys.
Yeah.
Step right up, dummies, and listen to the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton. Yeah.